Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. Liberal Judge Susan Crawford clinched a decisive victory over conservative candidate Brand Scrummel in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, and the election marked as the most expensive judicial contest in U.S. history. It saw substantial financial backings for Schimmel from tech mogul Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, he was giving away $1 million checks as well as $1,000 checks. And despite this, Crawford still won, reinforces the court 4-3 liberal majority, signaling a notable shift in Wisconsin's judicial landscape. Crawford emphasized the importance of judicial independence, stating our courts are not for sale. Now, I thought that this method was going to fail as well. The Democrats did this same method when it came to Kamala Harris, of Kamala Harris giving platforms and networks to give her favorable interviews so she can appease certain demographics of people so they can vote for her. And that failed. And in some regards, I made a statement that the Republican Party and the Conservative Party in Wisconsin, by the way of Elon Musk, I'm not stating all conservatives or Republicans, but by the way of Elon Musk and those conservatives in Wisconsin, tried to use the same tactic. It was branded as being different, but nonetheless, it was very, very, very similar. And they have failed. And this is the outcome of that failure of trying to, again, buy certain things with millions of dollars, and it has not worked. And the people are seeing through the bureaucracy that is starting to fester in certain parts of the Republican Party. Now, Elon Musk's political endeavors have faced scrutiny when his super PAC, America PAC, removed a video featuring a Tatera distiller, the person who essentially gave $1 million giveaway recipient. Because in her video, the recipient of the $1 million implied that the monetary award was in part to encourage her to vote, raising concerns about potential violation of bribery statutes. Legal experts suggest that offering financial incentives in exchange for voting could be interpreted as bribery, casting a shadow over Musk's political activities. And I stated this, I believe it was yesterday, that you can't just go and buy votes. Eventually, someone's going to, see through the bureaucracy. They're going to, again, put people up on charges because it seems though that you're buying votes, especially if you're giving $1 million and you say something in the terms of, or hint on the terms of, you should go out and vote. Or, I'm pretty sure no one state this $1 million is for you to go out and vote. I doubt if that was the case.
Phone call from Judge Brett conceding the race. As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
So congratulations to her on her win. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't live in Wisconsin, and neither am I a liberal or a Democrat. But nonetheless, you can't just go out and buy elections because you have the money, because a lot of the American people in all demographics and all walks of life are waking up to the bureaucracy, whether it's coming from the liberal Democratic Party as well as the conservative Republican Party. And this is a good thing. I'm glad that people are waking up. People are not letting money or influence or people control them and control the way that they vote. President Trump announced a series of reciprocal tariffs dubbed Liberation Day. And this amidst the tariffs that will be implemented, aiming to bolster U.S. manufacturing and address perceived unfair trade practices. These tariffs encompass a 25% tax on auto imports and levies against countries including China, Canada, and Mexico. Economists warn that such measures could lead to increased consumer prices and potential economic downturns. Allies are preparing retaliatory actions, raising fears of a global trade war. Now, what I saw about this already, the market, the economy of America is responding to Liberation Day. And again, I've stated this many a times before that a lot of us are going to feel the pinch. We're going to feel the pain of Liberation Day. We're going to feel the backlash of world economies of the heightened and increased tariff percentages. Just this morning, now, yesterday, gas in my area was around $2.69 a gallon. This morning, the morning that I need gas, no less, gas, and this is just regular unleaded, I usually use mid-grade or premium. Regular unleaded gas was $3.09 a gallon. So it raised, what, 40 cents in one day? Now, gas usually, and I would say in the past 3 months or so, starting in January, it's been fluctuating. But I would say gas was usually hovering around anywhere between 230 and 255. So that's a very heightened increase of the amount of oil and gas per gallon that Americans are facing. I can only imagine what other people, either be in the Northeast or in California, certain places where we know gas is historically high already. I can only imagine what they're paying. So when we look at Liberation Day, again, there's going to be some pain points. There are going to be some barriers. There are going to be some difficult times for Americans as we get through this. And I hope that we get through this pretty soon. But I knew that this was going to happen. And if this is going to fix the economy, if this is going to help the economy, if this is going to create jobs for Americans, then I think that is needed. And again, I'm no economist. I'm no multi-billionaire businessman to know what these tariffs will essentially do. But there's one thing that I guess I agree with in some regards is that America has not been given a fair deal when it comes to the amount of tariffs and the amount of tax that we pay when we import our products into other countries versus other countries importing their importing their products to America. And there's something that we should really understand is the historical key points of China being involved in this to a very large degree. Because we look at 35, 36 years ago, China GDP was number 5 on the world list. Japan was number 2, I believe. Germany and Italy was in the top, 5 or whatever. But again, China was number 5. And Nixon changed all of this. And I've stated this many times before that Nixon took America off the gold standard and put us on the debt standard, IOU standard. That's why we can do loans and do all these other things that we necessarily don't have the cash, but we have the credit score. But not only that, Nixon is the first president to visit China. President Nixon also helped China to be part of the world trade. Now, minimum wage in 1971 for Americans was $5.20 or 30 cents per hour. This is back in the 70s, okay? Minimum wage for Americans was about $5.20 to 30 cents. And in China, minimum wage was 18 to 20 cents per hour. Automatically, when Nixon helped China to be part of the world trade, 6 million manufacturing jobs went to China. 6 million. So what does that mean? 6 million Americans lost their jobs. And ever since then, America has not been given a fair deal because America is the reason why a lot of these countries eat as well as they've been eating. Because we've been raising these countries through their economics. We've been taking the toll of the bill of a lot of these countries. We've been giving them these deals for a very long time, for at least 30 years. A lot of these countries that I named have been benefiting from the tax that America has been paying to them and the lack of tax that we've been receiving from them. And I think people don't understand that these tariffs, that these taxes historically has not favored America, that we've been helping all these other countries. Because when we look at all these other countries, here's another thing to look at as well. Why did America do that? Because when we look at countries like Italy, Germany, Japan, automatic I think about World War II. We was at war with all of these countries. Look at historically how America and other NATO countries and other allies of America decimated a lot of these countries. So we felt as though that a humanitarian effort of alleviating a lot of these countries of the tax and the debt to help them to rebuild their countries, even though we was at war with these countries. And that's why they had some of the highest GDPs until China came into play. But we wasn't given a fair deal. This should have stopped a long time ago, but it has not. It didn't stop long enough, and it should have. It should have stopped long time before. So today has been termed Liberation Day. And the tariffs, they aim to bolster U.S. manufacturing and penalize countries for what the administration perceived as unfair trade practices. Again, this goes back all the way from World War II to 1971 with President Nixon. And this tariff plan includes a 25% tax on auto imports and levy against nations, as stated before, China, Canada, Mexico. And the shipping industry has expressed significant concerns over the potential chaos these tariffs could introduce. And executives highlight the challenges of rapidly adapting to the changing tariff landscape, which could lead to confusion and increased operational costs. The 14 trillion ocean shipping industry, which is vital for global trade for all the countries in the world, faces heightened volatility and reduced certainty in supply chain management. Now, despite the administration's confidence, there is a lot of widespread apprehension among Wall Street traders, and that is why the market has been on a tear. And when I mean tear, I mean a tear of decrease. Lawmakers and industry leaders stated. They're arguing that the new levies could hurt consumers and inflate prices, which will potentially harming the Republican Party. In the popularity of the midterm elections, economists warn of possible stagflation of recession, which the manufacturing sector showing signs of contraction and consumer sentiment declining. The stock market has already reacted negatively. Just look at your stock portfolios. Look at your 401ks. Look at your TSP. Look at your investment plans. Because futures for major indices like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ experiencing drops ahead of the tariff announcement. Investors are turning to gold, as I stated before that you guys should be investing in gold and actually have gold on hand. They're investing and turning to gold as a safe haven, causing its price to soar. Global markets are also affected, okay, reflecting the widespread uncertainty induced by the tariffs. So again, we're going to see how all of this shapes out with the tariffs. And again, I'm hoping that America comes out on top and that this strategy works. Israel military operations in the Gaza Strip have escalated. The Middle East has been at war for centuries. And America has been involving ourselves in the turmoil and chaos of the Middle East. And the only thing that America has gained is a massive amount of debt and the loss of American soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, and Coast Guardmen. We've only lost being involved in the Middle East. Maybe some lucrative oil deals, maybe some oil partnerships with Saudi Arabia, but for the most part, we've lost human capital. America has lost human capital. We've lost thousands of our military members to being involved in the Middle East conflicts. because Israel, with plans to seize significant areas to expand security zones. And recent airstrikes have resulted in over 30 Palestinian casualties, including children. I've reported on this many times before, and nothing has changed. There's many Palestinians that are not Hamas being killed haphazardly because of Israel onslaught of trying to sort out the Hamas terrorists, and innocent people getting killed. And unfortunately, in war, innocent people are killed. But at what rate and at what cost? And what are the numbers totaling of the innocent Palestinians that are getting killed? Is it worth it? Because reports have it that Hamas still has roughly 50 hostages, and they believe at least 24 to 25 of them are still alive. Wow. And this offensive aims to eliminate militant threats. But again, it has led to mass evacuations and heightened international concern over, the safety of the Palestinians and the stability of their region. There's not much to say here other than it's been total destruction, especially for those Palestinians, of the Israeli forces going through certain cities and totally decimating the structures, the living quarters, the sewage, the water filtration, electricity grids. It's in total destruction because they're trying to eradicate terrorists from the region. Don't get me wrong, I understand what Israel, in some regards, is trying to do. But again, I ask the question, but at what cost? Israel is a very powerful nation, and with very powerful friends like United States of America. I don't know the allies of Palestine. I just know what I see. And I don't see the same destruction and carnage on the Israel side. And hopefully that never happens to Israel. But in the same way that I look at this, it should not be happening to the residents and citizens of Palestine that are not Hamas. But unfortunately, it is. Unfortunately, the U.S. Army confirmed the recovery of the fourth soldier who went missing during a training exercise near Bribery, Lithuania. Now, the four soldiers are believed to have drowned when their armored vehicle sank in a peat bog. This incident underscores the risks associated with military training exercise in challenging terrains and has prompted a review of safety protocols. Now, I know a lot of you guys are unfamiliar with peat bog, and I know some people describe it as quicksand, so to speak. But just to kind of give you guys some reference here, it states that peat bog, it says forests growing on peat-rich soils that are permanently waterlogged. They are formed where there are large inputs of fresh water and low levels of organic decomposition. Adequate habitats of peat bog forests may be sporadic, seasonal, or permanent. And I looked up, as well, if there are peat bogs in the United States. They said yes. They exist in the United States, mostly in northern region along the Atlantic coastal plains. But I kind of look at it as quick mud or quicksand, so to speak. And I'm pretty sure that these soldiers, I've been stuck in Humvees and all sorts of military vehicles. I've been stuck. And at first, it's like any good old American. They're stepping on the gas. You're turning the steering wheel. Then after a while, you tend to try to get out. Now, depending on how far they was inside of the peat bog, chances are they tried to escape the vehicle and got stuck in the mud and slowly sunk. But they said they retrieved the body, so they, I don't know if the total vehicle was submerged, and they recovered the vehicle from the peat bog, or some of them tried to escape knowing that they were stuck and couldn't get out. Because a lot of times we get out, you may use a board or something to put under the tires. If you have even chains to try to get more grip, you put it in a lower gear. You're trying all these methods and try to unstick yourselves, because the one thing that a soldier does not want to do is lose any Army equipment, because they will take it out of your paycheck. They will write you up. So again, unfortunately, all four of our soldiers have passed away due to this accident that they were trying to do a recovery mission for another team. Now, with that being said, I try to leave on a good note or a very intriguing note. And with that being said, I'll leave you guys with this.
I don't think he wants it.
La puntura. Dai, almeno non te la faccio, dai.
¡Suéltame, hijo de la chingada! ¡Suéltame, hijo de la chingada!